Hi, I'm Graham from Second Era of Moles, and if you've clicked on this video accidentally, 90 seconds is all I ever ask. What a busy week it's been for all of us on Pokemon Masters X. We've had the last week of the Champions Stadium in the Kanto region, we've had the final key to unlock for the Curious Tea Party event, we've had Pokemon Masters Day, we've had a sweet secret event come along, we've had a blissful bonanza, we've had Azelf in the legendary arena, and we've had a message from the Pokemon Masters team. So we're going to touch on all of those, but we're going to start with the Champions Stadium. So it's the final week of the Champions Stadium in the Kanto region. It comes and goes so fast, doesn't it? So for round 1 you get a special attack reduction. I chose to take on Agatha for this one. She was weak to dark types and a lot of dark types have physical moves. My team was the Masked Royal with Incineroar, Sydney with Absol and Piers with Obstagoon. So with the Masked Royal, you're boosting stats with Ready Fight, maybe using an X attack in there as well. After that you're going on the offensive with Brutal Swing. Remember that's going to reduce enemy attack and defense, so make sure that you've got your stats reductions allowed when you're picking your points options, because that's going to power up his sync move even more. After you've used the sync move with the Masked Royal, which is going to be the second sync move, then you're moving on to Darkest Lariat to take out the two sides. With Sydney, you're doing Brutal Swing as well. His doesn't reduce stats, but it does do Confusion, which might come in a bit useful. He's most likely going to faint to Gengar's sync move, so make sure you use up your potions before that point. Maybe give yourself a chance of survival, maybe give a teammate a bit of a boost instead. With Piers, you're starting off with Dire Hit Plus and Shout My Name. He gets the first sync move for that 6x boost. Maybe a few Night Slashes when you get close to that second sync move. That's when you want to start doing Obstruct to nullify enemy damage. I did 30k with the Masked Royal's sync move onto Gengar, so you don't need to worry about attacking Gengar through the rest of it. You can focus on the two sides. Piers' sync move is going to go at one of them. Brutal Swing is also going to take chunks of health out of them as well, but make sure you're moving on to that Darkest Lariat to nullify any damage that might come from them when they're hanging around. In round 2, your condition is Permanent Field Effects. I was taking on Bruno for this one because he was weak to Psychic types, and I thought, Psychic Terrain. So my team was Signasuit Dawn and Cresselia, Bianca and Musharna, and Signasuit Lusamine with Necrozma. Ooh, 2 Signasuits in there. So this is the first time I've used Dawn and Cresselia in the Champions Stadium, starting off with a relatively easy one, because when you've got Psychic Terrain and Necrozma in there, it's going to make short work of anything. It works quite well. So you're using that trainer move that takes a chunk of health, you've got that Moonlight to recover some of that health that was lost. I do have her at 6x, but I didn't go for her sync move because it's much more efficient to give it to Lusamine and Necrozma. Bianca's setting Psychic Terrain, then you snooze you lose, stored power comes into there after that. Necrozma uses up all of the trainer moves to get down to that first sync move as quick as possible, and then you get that Ultra Evolution, not quite sure what it's called, and using your Prismatic Laser after that, that's going to do huge damage, and with extended range it hits everyone, so it makes very short work of this round. Moving on to round 3, where your condition is a stats reduction boost. I was taking on Lance for this one. He was weak to fairy types, so that always suggests going for Xerneas. Stats reduction boost brings Lily to the fore, and then you've got Ghetsis and Kyurem in there as the third pair for that Noble Roar to reduce attack as well. So this one can go either really smoothly or can be very difficult, and it's down to that sort of first phase up until that first sync move. So if you get some good refreshes and it all goes smoothly, you set yourself up for the rest of the battle to just sort of sit back and chip away at the enemy. But if you get some double edges and Giga Impacts coming your way and doing a lot of damage to Xerneas, then it could come to a stage where the healing that he's getting back is being outstripped by the damage that's coming in and he goes down easily. Lily isn't designed to tank for that long and it all goes a bit squiffy after that. So Xerneas sinks first. You're doing Disarming Voice with Lily to reduce stats, Noble Roar with Curum to reduce stats. In that first phase you're using Mwahaha with Curum as well. Because you've got that speed boost for everyone, that move gauge is going to move a lot quicker. That should allow you to start using your Moonblast or indeed your Horn Leech, depending on how much health you have. Lily gets the next few sync moves after that because of her Team Synchro healing. You can Glaciate when the move gauge allows for it. That's going to do some damage to the sides as well and make short work of them. After a few Lily sync moves, I then did move on to getting the sync moves for that Hunter's Instinct and big damage there. If Xerneas is getting low on health, remember that you can put a full power onto him. That's going to max out the damage that he does with his Horn Leech, and that means a lot more health coming back to him. The World is Vast boosts the move gauge as well, so that gives you a lot more opportunities to use Glaciate, and if you keep sticking it to Lance, you're going to take him down eventually. Now we come on to round 4, where your condition is a sync move countdown reduction. I was left with Lorelei for this one. She was weak to fighting types, so my team was Eevee and Leaf, Bee and Sirfetch'd, and the player and Cobalion from the battle points. I haven't used Cobalion before, so it was a good opportunity to try that one out. With B, you only need to use 2 X speeds because it's going to get X speed from Eevee's sync move. The same goes for X attack, and then you can start your Meteor Assaults from there. With Cobalion, you're going to be using Dire Hit and Sacred Sword in that first phase because no one else is going to be using the move gauge. Eevee is going to be tackling and then that first sync move. Lorelei gets a lot of evasiveness, which can be very, very annoying. She also gets a crit hit shield. Probably those two are the 2 most annoying things you can do when someone's trying to battle you, especially for someone like B who relies a lot on getting crit hits in there. But if you get 2 sync moves from B and then some Meteor Assaults in between, you should be in good shape to finish this one off. Cobalion's Justice Trainer move gives you a move gauge boost that helps you use more Meteor Assaults. You've also got Let's Go with Eevee, which gives you more bars as well and more poking with the leak. And so on to round 5 and the last battle of this go-round's Kanto Champion Stadium. You're taking on Blue again. His permanent condition is a physical attack boost. I went for the optional condition of permanent field effects because Blue was weak to fire types, so my team was Silver and Ho-Oh, Red and Charizard, and N and Reshiram here. Silver sets the weather as sunny off of his sync move, so he gets the first sync move from that. That's going to power up everyone's attack. You want to make sure he survives to that as well. So use up his trainer moves first because that's going to boost his evasiveness. After he's used his sync move, doesn't really matter that much what he's doing. Just hope he gets some more evasion and survives for as long as possible. With N, you want to use the Truth Will Prevail as early as possible because it will give you a move gauge boost, and that's useful when you're trying to use a Blue Flare and also a Blast Burn with Charizard. With Charizard, I was mostly using Heat Waves in this one though. Both Charizard and Ho-Oh fainted to Exeggutor's sync move, which was a little bit annoying. Luckily, there was enough with Reshiram and Blue Flare to finish this one off. Up until that point though, I'd been using Noble Roar to reduce stats. I didn't know whose sync move I was going to use. That obviously makes quick work of the 2 sides. Red wasn't that much of a factor in this battle. You know, happens sometimes, just wasn't his day. And there it is, the final 10k point run for this go-round's Kanto Champion Stadium. We've got a new region next week, and when I say a new region, I mean a new region. We've got Sinnoh coming for the first time, so you're going to have to use all 18 types, and then it will be the week after when we can get back into Masters mode. For the Curious Tea Party, you should now have had all 4 keys, which means you can unlock all 4 areas: Lily's, Sonia's, Ingo's, and Emmett's. It also means that we've got the second battle challenge here. So to get the 2 additional coins, you need to use 2 Unova types and 2 bug types. So my team was Burr and Leavenny, Skylar and Swanna, and Viola and Masquerain. This one was definitely a bit of a slog. mostly because you have to have 2 of them surviving at the end. I did it quite a few times with 1 surviving. And again, you're taking on the Sims, so I focused on wearing down Sim Seer first, and then Sim Poor, and then Sim Sage, and relied on a little bit of Struggle Bug in the background to take them out. So make sure that you've got infestation onto all 3 of them, and they're all trapped. You want to raise Burr's special attack. Don't bother with Scurry Ahead because the stats boosts there are the same as the ones you get from Take Flight. The other thing with this one is you're either relying on move point refreshes or on Burr's swag bag to max out his special attack. So it's kind of like, if you don't get much luck, then you probably won't be successful with it. But Skylar gets that first sync move for that 6x boost. The main thing you want to watch out for her is when the enemy starts using Focus Blasts. That's why you want to be using Struggle Bug with Viola as much as possible, because that's a special move and you can reduce that special attack. So when you see one of those coming, you want to queue up a potion right after it to make sure that she's going to survive the next hit. It's usually after the second sync move that it starts really going hard on that. Before that, it's mostly going to be Seed Bombs. So as I said, I wore down the 2 sides to very low health and then was relying on the effects of Struggle Bug to take them out. Then after that, focusing down the middle with sync moves and such, and Bug Buzz. Once you've taken out Sim Sage, you want to make sure that Sim Seer goes down next, because its move is going to be Rock Slide. That's pretty much going to one-shot both Leavenny and Skylar and Swanna, and that's bad because you need at least 2 of your sync pairs standing by the end of it. This isn't a perfect strategy by any stretch of the imaginations. I think it took me 4 or 5 attempts to actually get this one right. Azelf has returned in the Legendary Arena, and there's a bit of a theme this week, because your 3 challenges are also to use Unova types. This time it's 3 of them. Also use Bug types, again 3 of them. And then the third one for your gems is to use Gym Leaders. So my first team for this one was Burr and Leavenny, supports Bugsy with Scyther, and Rosa and Serperia. So that gives you 2 of each. Pretty good team to start off with. I had Rosa as the first target. After she'd used the first sync move, obviously 6x, she moves on to Giga Drain because you want to get that health back. You want her health to be as high as possible so that she survives Azelf's sync move. This time, Rosa's going to do a lot of the work for Burr's special attack, so you can use your Scurries Aheads. Is that the right plural of that? And then you're going on to Bug Buzz to do damage there. Scyther is doing Leer to reduce that defense. The advantage of Bug Buzz is going to reduce special defense as well. For my second sync move, I went for Bugsy and Scyther. Not sure if it was the best decision, but the idea of team healing and also endurance very much appealed to me in that moment. Maybe if I would have gone with Burr, I'd have done a bit more damage, but Azelf's second sync move came along and it took out both of them, and I was left there sitting a bit like, oh, whoops. All in all, quite an average first run because it didn't get into that second bar. What it did mean was for my second team I only needed 1 more of each, and I filled that out with Skylar and Swanna, Luzamine and Pheromosa, and Xerneas and Sycamore. They were kind of a free pick, and I thought that gives me boosts to all of my defense. It gives me a very strong bug type striker. It also gives me units that have access to both physical and special attack, and that is Azelf's gimmick. For the first half, special attacks are more effective. For the second half, physical attacks are more effective. Probably should have said that at the start, but we've said it now. Zen Headbutt will take a heavy toll on Skylar early on, so make sure you're using your potions accordingly. Xerneas gets that first sync move for all of the boosts that come along with it. Pheromosa is using there and then going on the attack. When it's weak to special, you're using Bug Buzz. When it's weak to physical, you're using Lunge. With Xerneas, you're using Moonblast when it's weak to special, Hornleech when it's weak to physical. Skylar maxes out speed and defense with Take Flight, also has potions for healing. When it got to the third sync move, I was already in that third bar, and it pretty much wiped Azelf out from there. So, yeah. Pheromosa is the bane of Azelf, and it's what keeps Azelf up at night. It's like, I thought I saw Pheromosa and Luzamine. The latest event is a sweet secret. That's the name of it. I'm not just saying it's a secret that's sweet. So there's a group of randomers that want to give their mentors some sweeties. With all the other events that have been going on, I've not had the stamina to explore much of it. There's no battle challenge for this one, which struck me as quite odd. Maybe Dina kind of thought, we've got them enough to do this week. We'll let them slide on this one. So we had Pokemon Masters Day on Monday. I enjoyed it, but it also took up a lot of the day, and I like to use my Monday to get my Champion Stadium out of the way, and it was like, I've got no time to do anything else. But hopefully I picked up enough rewards from that to keep me happy for a long, long time. My first Happy Scout was very happy. Look at that, I got 3 5 stars. My second Happy Scout, not so much. We've got a blissful bonanza going on at the moment, so make sure you're doing your daily battles for that, stocking up on tickets and lucky cookies. We've also had a message from the Masters team, so some of the highlights for that for me were a revamping of the team select screens when you're doing the legendary gauntlet, so it's more obvious which pairs you've used and which ones you haven't, and the ones you are able to use are much higher up. There's also going to be an option to retry the battle rather than it just counting. So if you think, I could have done that, you can retry it without having to come out and go back in again, which I think is very nice. The theme for May is going to be gold. So there's a Gold Rush event. You get a shiny Sho-Oh. Shiny Ho-Oh with Morty is going to be the featured pair. There's also going to be something with a golden Magikarp. I think that's just a one-day thing. There's also going to be the next lot of 3-star gear released, so this is going to be ground types. Doesn't help you out that much. It's like, come on, give us something that we really need, like water, or fire, or electric. To coincide with Morty, who's a Johto guy coming around, the next lot of the villain arc is going to be released, and that's going to be for Johto as well. At the end of the month, we're going to have the start of another legendary gauntlet, so... twitching already. The 3 Pokemon that you're going to be taking off are going to be Regirock, called it, Latios, and Tornados. So, you guys out there, you get started. You let me know all the good strategies. You start studying up on what their strengths and weaknesses and gimmicks are so that you can give me all the good tips and I can build a really good run. So thank you very much for watching the week that was. You're well past the 90-second mark at this point. If you've enjoyed it, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm SEOM_YT. You can subscribe to the channel. You can leave comments on your tips for the legendary gauntlet coming up. Next week, we're going to have some of those new events. We're going to have a new region for the Champion Stadium in Sinnoh. It's also probably going to be the last week of Pokemon Masters before I go on my holidays. So you're only going to get one more out of me for the time being. That's all for the week that will be. Thank you very much for watching the week that was, and goodbye.